Yo ho ho. Oh, why don't we have any cameras on? Hang on a second. Oh, we're here, but we're not here. Hang on. It's because I had to change something the other day when... Let's try that. There we go. Now we're here. Hello, everybody. We're going to watch some Star Trek. Isn't that great?
Are we going to do it professionally?
We're going to try and do it professionally. We're not off to the best start so far. I'm Captain Idle. I'm joined by some of my wonderful co-hosts. We've got Dan Chavin below me, we've got Otto next to me, and we over down in the far corner there, Stars and Garters. I've given you a German twinge today, no reason. We're going to watch the Empath. I forgot to put characters on the screen. I'll do that later. We're going to watch the Empath, which is season 3 of TOS, episode 12. This was Otto's pick. I'm intrigued by this because you've got quite a few tidbits for this episode, which we'll get onto in the review, along with the usual. Why are you doing this to us? But my question is to you guys: when was the last time you watched this episode? Actually, I can't talk because I've inflicted far worse Trek on you. But okay.
I was going to say, you literally inflicted Turnabout Intruder on us, you cuck.
Okay, when was the last time you watched this episode? Dan, my favourite friend.
Yeah, on Pluto TV, probably within the past 6 months. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of throw it on while I'm getting stuff done. And I think the guest cast is notable in this one. I really enjoyed that. And I've got pretty good memories of this, but wasn't really watching it for content or critique, so it'll be a different lens I'm looking at it through today. Yeah, but Stars, you've never seen this. Otto, when's the last time you have? Probably 3 times last night, right?
I've watched this literally like 50 times since the draft.
Wow.
It's been unhealthy.
Have you, so many times you cycle around to go like, I like this episode, so I hate this episode, and then back through to like, actually, genius.
No, so how much have you seen? Because there's what, like 79 episodes, I think, of the original series. Do you have any idea how many roughly?
I'm actually like 20, 25, maybe 30 of them.
Wow.
Okay.
Maybe less. Yeah.
Really? Dan, I thought you would have seen all of them.
Probably over the course of my entire life in syndication, I probably have caught most of them, but memory is hazy these days.
I think I watched this last. I think I last watched this. I did a TOS, like most people. I hadn't seen the whole lot, so I went, I'm going to watch it all, and that was about 10 years ago, I think, something like that. So it's been a little while. I'm pretty sure this was because this is season 3, so I may have been starting to check out by this point. So I don't remember anything.
Oh, like everyone else, including the cast and crew.
Yeah, I think this is like right. I need to do my TOS rewatch, but I'll do it while I'm doing something else. So yeah,
it has some rough ones.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah,
because the one after this is Elan of Troyes, where he he threatens to spank her. It's basically My Fair Lady in space, and it's really bad. So yeah.
And then there's Spock's brain, Turnabout Intruder.
I'm going to be really intrigued by Spock's brain. I wonder how, because
I think it will laugh a lot, but I don't think it's good.
No, I don't think it's going to be good, but I think it's going to be like Threshold. It's not going to be as bad as you remember.
No, I think it'll be funnier than remember. I think that's the saving grace of it.
His brain is gone. Anyway, speaking of people with their brains gone, shall we watch a trailer? Let's do this. So we've gone for Otto. We've chosen a different trailer. Why?
It's a different trailer. I felt the original one gave too much away, and this is a little special treat.
Okay. So also, usually we would watch this indication.
Before we watch,
trailer, yeah.
No, this is just a clip from, I think it's like Sci-Fi Channel's marathon or something, and it features Shatner and DeForest Kelley talking about the episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go.
But before we get there,
okay, let's not.
This is an unusual episode, I would say, in the run of Star Trek. So I have an unusual request for everybody, and you can choose to follow it or not follow it. But I would like you to, in order to maximize your enjoyment, if there's going to be any enjoyment, watch this as a stage play, not as an episode of Star Trek. So if we're on the bridge, we're not on the bridge. It's a set with actors on it. When we're in the lab, we're not really in the lab. It's a stage. And so if you watch it through that lens, I think you'll get more out of it, and we can discuss it in whatever context is appropriate afterwards. But if you can try to maintain that headspace as we go on, I think you might find it intriguing.
Do you want to do pre-ratings, or do you want to?
Well, let's do the trailer first. We'll watch this trailer first.
Yeah.
So let's go. Look at that glorious Star Trek. Back when it was sci-fi, properly spelled.
Yeah, that really.
God put Job to the test. In this episode, Job takes on the form
Your audio's
of a
double.
woman named Jem, while the part of God is played by a race of beings known as the Vians. The theme of testing one's worthiness is constant throughout Star Trek. It also runs through our own lives. We're tested in school, by our teachers, by our various governing bodies, and even our loved ones. We're tested for hearing, reflexes, intelligence, knowledge, even typing speed. Although the stakes don't come any higher than in the Empath, I hate to think of what life would be like if I couldn't pass my driving test. The
Great read there, Bill.
Crew are
I've seen a piece of the action.
and tribulations of being put to the test, and
Piece of the action's
they
fun.
aren't always given a clue as to what the stakes are and why they're being tested. Unlike real life, our crew always seem to pass the test. Maybe that's why the audience loved the show.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Get on with it.
I suppose it would be the empath.
Oh
You
man.
must be an empath.
I thought it was so dramatically done. The entire stage was blacked out in black curtains, and everything was done in pen spots, the lighting. And I just thought it was so unique.
Exactly.
In the production values and the cinematography on it, I just thought
What
it
year
was,
was this film?
You'd
Do
look
we know?
around, you think, gee, what a wow way
I think
to shoot a
90s.
show. And maybe I'm being prejudiced and thinking of it from a production standpoint, but that pops into my mind.
Utah.
Catherine Hayes, who plays the empath, Jem, does not utter a single word during this episode.
Is this where Frakes
Through
does
her
Beyond
facial
Belief as well?
expressions and bodily gestures, she was able to
Maybe.
convey an incredible amount of compassion and understanding. At times, you're not going to believe this until you see it, there are virtually no sets used. This helped with the slashed
We saved
production
so much money.
budget. Actually, this episode has a lot in common with an Outer Limits episode called Nightmare. That show also highlighted the hardships that aliens had put Earthlings through and contained sets that were extremely minimal. And interestingly, both Nightmare and The Empath were directed by the same person, John Erman.
Oh, that's it. Yep.
That's it.
Otto, have you co-opted our Trek into a Twilight Zone episode?
No,
this-
not exactly.
Is this a trick? Is this a ploy? The Romulans, something. Anyway,
There's a lot of overlap between various series back then. I actually started watching Outer Limits because of the connection to this episode, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. It's just like when you think of cheesy 50s sci-fi, but in a good way, it's that, and I really have enjoyed it so far.
Also, let's be real. Like the more that Roddenberry steals from like Rod Serling, kind of the better. Really.
Yeah, the better.
I did have to chuckle when he went like, the incredible thing, we used no sets. Like, hang on. That's a weird brag.
Yeah, I know it was cheap. I bet it was, Bill.
So, Idol, what would you pre-rate
Ooh.
this?
Gosh.
Based on what you know.
Okay,
so
so
far?
like, if I'm going to assume this is like a stage play, so I'm imagining no sets, black curtain. I'm going to be empowered by a lot of the dialogue. So I'm going to hope there's some scintillating dialogue to keep me amused here. This is season 3 of TOS, so this is probably going to be a little bit less. But you have watched it 50 times recently, so
That's
gonna...
my ailment. That has nothing to do with.
Yes, got the DVD player stuck. Fuck. I'm gonna go for a cautious 6.5 pre-rating. I'm gonna go above the average, and I'm gonna sit there, and hopefully that'll go up. I'm gonna leave it breathing room to go up, and see what you put in there. But if we're lucky, we've got a semi-decent episode of TOS. Dan.
Yeah. So I love whenever we get to deviate from the formula. We've got some really great bog standard TOS shows, TNG shows, where characters get to be the characters. They get to have a moral quandary and resolve successfully, just like Shatner said in the little intros there. They pass the test. This automatically seems very different than our normal TOS show, and I'm here for it. I'm looking for a change. I want something where the crew are out of the element, and they've got some really interesting choices they made with a non-speaking role here, especially in the talkies, right? The audiovisual medium. I'm excited to see where they go with this, and I think it's going to be better than average, and I'm going to start at an 8.7.
Ooh, 8.7. Go on, Stars.
So yeah, it's TOS season 3, so I'm not gonna shoot for the moon. That being said, I generally find that even if I don't love Auto's picks, I can at least understand why there's worth in them, and I can find that there's
Don't like it, but I understand.
Well, there's intellectual and emotional worth in it, and that usually can be worth its weight in gold, which kind of will artificially increase the points on the scale. So I will go for a cautious 7.5 with the hope of going higher.
I'm not used to there being so many decimal points in my pre-rating. Auto.
You guys are going higher than you might not end up that high, because it is an acquired taste.
The classic
I'm just
trap.
letting you know it's an acquired taste. But like I say, with the theater play aspect, if you enjoy your theater, you may like it more than if it were in a shot standard. So I drafted my second pick was The Offspring from TNG, and that's my ace in the hole. Idol, you're a very hard man to get a 10 out of, and I think The Offspring might be my ace in the hole to get a 10 out of you.
Interesting.
For as long as I can remember, that's been my favorite episode of Star Trek since I was a kid. Like, oh, it's such a banger. I'm not sure I can say that it's my favorite anymore, because this one has done strange things to me. So,
oh, you're definitely off.
I'm gonna be rating this double digits, and that's all I know so far.
You're now in the meme where you've gone up the
there.
spreadsheet and down the curve, and you're there in the hood going yes.
Yeah, I feel like that Jimmy Neutron meme where it's like, Otto, this was the 7th week in a row you've shown us a 10 out of 10 episode, but I really like this one, so we'll see.
Well, if we can't front load, what are we doing? Okay, everyone. Get your episodes ready on your copy of Paramount Plus, spool up the DVD player, and all the other things you can watch Star Trek on, because we are going to watch Season 3, Episode 12 of the original series. And we're watching the Enhanced Edition as well, just for preference, because there's not really point any watching there's not really any ship shots in this, are there? So,
the biggest difference is going to be that because they film some wounds that heal over time and they do fades and jump cuts, so that's like the biggest difference. So.
No, that's fine. Okay.
Get ready for weird things to happen to you, folks. Here we go.
Trek Time is not responsible for any psychotropic effects you have on the human body. Let's start this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Punch it. Ba, 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 ba.
Remember, it's not Star Trek, it's a stage play.
Really into Richard Rider. This is literally just the set, isn't it?
This is the richest set they have, yes.
Cocaine.
The dust.
Ooh.
By the way, feel free to shit all over this, because I'm already prepared for people not particularly enjoying it.
Looks like they never finished the game of Magic the Gathering there.
Who the fuck is that?
He's like recurring. He's been in loads of episodes. Also, that's Scotty. Ritter scale. We've got another scale, guys.
It's much too low a rating.
You don't know that.
From a Nova? Okay.
Don't consult with your astrophysicist or anything.
I mean, in Spanish, Nova means no go, so maybe he thought it wouldn't hit the ship.
Are they on Thunderbirds?
A little bit. Oh no, we're going to get wheat warped.
Theremin's on overdrive.
Yeah, a little bit.
So this is made by the Yamaha E3 electric organ.
Oh, wow.
This noise. It was a brand new instrument at the time.
Yeah, 68 is like kind of... No, this would be... Yeah.
69, I think.
90, yeah, 69, 70, wouldn't it? So it'd be like right on the cusp of all the electronic tech. Oh, he doesn't get eaten away. Oh, no, there you go.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a cool
shadow.
little set. Yeah, I love the... Yeah, that's good.
How many sweaty
That was very
Shatner
effective.
imprints out
That
of
was very
10?
good. Doing
Yeah,
just
'cause
those 3
69
frames of the Technicolor yawn was enough to make it really effective.
I like how Kirk has to outlast everybody else,
Yeah,
no matter what
of
the
course.
situation
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
more
is. He
fortitude.
sustains longer.
Yeah, because if I recall, 1969, that's also on a Magic Secret Service, which has one of the first instances of a Moog synthesizer in the score. So
Yeah.
Nice.
So this he's not hiring. This is one of the best. This is one of the best episodes for the Kirk, McCoy, Spock trio. So
Ooh,
I
cool.
think you'll see some shades of this in TMP. You'll see some shades of this in Wrath of Khan and Calling Forward. Just how tight they are. So
you're saying they earn these also starring credits.
yes,
Did they get to sing around a campfire?
no.
Marshmallows?
You know,
Sadly
row your boat.
Row.
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 Oh, look at that title screen on the void. I love it.
Joyce Muscat.
Muscat Sally.
Spock.
Who do I have to pay to get John Waters to direct a Star Trek episode?
Probably John Waters.
Could just said transporter. That's like me
Just
most
go poke it
mornings.
with a stick.
Original score, of course. The
Of
music
course.
is excellent in this.
I kind of want to overdub this with like a crowd being hushed and silent, the occasional like wrinkling of a crisp packer or something.
There is something a little bit amateur dramatics
Yeah.
or community theatre about it. Yeah.
It is extremely, yeah. So that bed is the agonizer from Mirror Mirror.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I'd love it if Kirk was just like, she's not wearing shoes. She can't be possibly a threat.
Oh, definitely Amdram.
You're pointing a gun at her, so you know.
I'm not going to hurt you. I might just shoot you a little. Lightly maim.
Set to tickle.
It's a woman.
A woman.
Women!
The director does a lot with foreground background here in the episode, which you can kind of interpret as, you know, upstage, downstage too.
Is this a young Loaxana Troy? Oh, nice.
Nice.
He just tunes in and he's just watching Lower Decks.
Oh, yeah. They've been watching Andromeda again, haven't they?
I mean, maybe she finds you boring. It's a shame you guys don't know sign language.
Deborah.
Truly outrageous.
Hey, you with the face.
This is how my cat looks at me when when I ask him a question. Oh, here come the Greys.
Tatu Verada Dicto.
Just guys, your makeup here. There, you should. Oh,
Are they the same aliens from Captain's Holiday?
No.
Guys, your makeup around your lips. It's a little bit.
It's the puckered
Bit
asshole, yes.
A little creepy.
That's not
Gotta
my
give you
mouth.
some cold cream.
You have some water. Your lips are a bit chapped.
Do you know?
Second time on his back.
Our portable microwave beams will continue to hurt you.
It's actually a speedometer. See how fast he was going. He just fell back because he wants to be dramatic.
Which is why I'm holding a gun.
He loves that move.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Oh, I love the
not the disco lights.
pose. Yeah.
I like how they jam their hands forward like bang, 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 like kids do when they play make-believe.
It's because they don't have any effects budget. So.
I suppose we're lucky we're not getting boing noises.
You are standing up.
You're literally standing. Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're in a enclosed space with other people.
Every time I get into force field, I get hungry again in 5 minutes.
I mean, they're getting hit by the trans ray right now. There's so many questions going through their head.
Oh, God.
Usually it's the male gazer that they get hit with in TOS, but... See if you can find a fire exit sign.
And Spock was never heard from again. Is she telling the story through interpretive dance?
Essentially, yes.
Set phasers to moment chance.
Okay.
No, the little spangle there.
Yeah, the little sparkle, yeah.
I mean, people watch these on really shitty TVs, so they had to do something to draw the eye.
Oh, she inhabits his pain.
Why you be pointing? You be booping her injury. Ketchup.
Barbecue sauce.
Cat's up. Oh, we do have Jim. Let's put her right here.
His brain is gone.
I need my pain. He just starts shaking her.
Time for the history lesson, kids. Love Spock just comes back with McDonald's. Yeah, staying with you is also dangerous.
It's like, but I can't laze around on my bed if I. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fairly comfortable
But
here.
my agonizer, it's vintage.
I saved this from going to the dump. Yeah, I can tell. It's nice to put arrows indicating where to go.
Gene Roddenberry's art installation.
I was going to say that's the worst Christmas tree I've ever seen, but you know.
Charlie Brown's.
About to get some Shatner subtlety here.
It's almost feels like a Taz episode. Oh. Oh, lights up,
Do
lights
love
up,
the
lights up at
lighting,
front.
though. No, the lighting's great, though.
Yeah.
We have an audience, and he just points.
Do you know what? That'd be so good. Oh, they literally do.
Oh, look at that.
Ozaba.
See, I would also be distraught if I was like caught in that pose and that outfit.
Where's the rest of the Teletubbies?
How many lilacly unitards? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. I would laugh if they just spelt Spock's name wrong. Spock.
Spoke.
Are they dead?
He's got a familiar voice.
On the bridge?
Oh, Wesley. Classic.
Good double team. Yeah.
Oh, playing possum.
Why is the Enterprise engineering grating
Yeah.
just sitting there?
Oh, I like that framing too.
This reminds me of a Berserker effect a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that a suit of armor back there?
$6 kilometers. Damn, they're gonna be hoofing it.
Yeah, no, like you get to running, I guess.
In this weather, too.
They've been doing their couch to 6K. They'll be fine.
You klutz, McCoy.
We just run around the corner. Kirk, like, come on.
Oh, that was 6 kilometers, by the way.
He's got a big grin on his face. I love it.
Hello! Greetings! Ever so happy to see you.
Oh,
That's good.
Time for a fist fight in the sand. No! Fucking hell. It's not even slow mode.
Oh, look at this shot. Low angle, fisheye.
Yeah, that's really uncommon for 1969.
Objects in the foreground. Oh, I love that shot.
Timmy in the well.
What's that, Skibby? Shatner stopped to ham it up again?
Oh, these faces are great.
Never needed to see that face on him.
Yeah, here we are.
How many Shatner faces out of 10?
How many Shatner Hagos, or was it?
And third time on his back, we got it. The trifecta is complete.
I feel like Shatner's trying to seduce me.
Is it working?
No comment.
Yeah, there you go then.
Love the pointing. Auto, if that's not your rating, I'm going to be very disappointed.
No, it's not, sadly.
I like Captain Scotty. This is very confident.
I'm just waiting for McCoy and Spock and Jem to just land on top of him.
Wow. Okay.
That's an awesome cut.
Amazing. Yeah.
I see you got your shirt off again.
What are the defense plans for Minos Kova?
Look at
You
the
didn't
subtle
bother to
camera
wax, did
movement
you? Yeah.
to give the idea that he's swinging.
That's terrible.
And your sweat stains.
No, that camera move is terrible.
Just eating the shag carpeting.
Yeah, just ass up to God.
So the music here, I'll reference later.
a little bit TNG season 1-ish.
It's something.
Your lymphatic nodes have now been expunged.
Oh, nice shoulder rub.
Taking the pain heals the gay away. Yeah, fuck you, Jim. I'm going to see the lady.
Dude, that shag is so thick. Look at that.
Yeah.
He wakes up for the questions. Please tap dance.
It's all double jeopardy and...
Damn, Spock, stop trying to progress the plot. Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I love that shot.
It's the worst sleep paralysis demons I've ever had.
He's only just got it back.
Permanent
good point.
insanity.
Honestly, if any episode was gonna have like the Jamiroquai
Oh,
like
yeah.
music video happen, it would be this one. Like, tell me you can't see the violins doing it. If you have any suggestions, Doctor, on how to fix this bootloader,
Man, has Nimoy got a cold? He's very deep today.
No, he does that a lot. The vocal fry almost.
Hmm.
More subtle Kirk coming up.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a bit more muted now. I like it. Shatner should get hurt more often.
More good foreground background here.
I thought he's going to go onto a lap then.
McCoy's like, fuck, I made a decision that he approves of. That's annoying.
All mine. I love it. She's like,
I do like the camera work of just like shooting shoulder to shoulder like that. She's like, huh, you feel something there, don't you?
Yeah, check out this dolly shot. It's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Hmm. She's great. Do I know her from somewhere? Like the actress?
Catherine Hayes, she has like 1,300 credits in daytime
wow.
soaps.
Okay.
Mid from Uncle.
Bones, you fucker. That's really funny.
how to make Spock erect in one simple move. Shanna letting McCoy have the hero moment? Surely not.
Well, he only had so much input in the end.
Ah, see, he kept his top on.
Yeah, I was gonna say he gets his top on, keeps that on.
I'm a doctor, not a Chippendales dancer.
I'm just going to point at you guys when I want something to do so.
I was convinced by Dr. McCoy's feminine wiles. It's like why are you keep on talking.
That was Picard cutting off Data.
hmm
Yeah, where did she even come from?
like the
They explained that? Did I miss that?
No.
No, that's
They
part
will.
of history.
They will. I like they
Well,
frame it
yes,
so you
sir.
can watch everyone's reactions at the same time. I guess we can pick them up first.
Offense.
Yes. God, I love
Nice.
Kirk.
Oh, he's ravaged.
Oof.
Oh, wow. Just, it's blurry as the preview window now. That's weird.
That's because Jem is the focal point. That's why he's out of focus.
Chains, yet a simple Hessian rope.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Could be hemp.
Oh,
It could be rich
carries
Corinthian
the
leather.
forest.
Definitely him then.
Yes. 90% whiskey. Who knows what you're saying?
Spock going for the touch. Communicate.
Wow. Okay, yeah, you can barely hear him. Oof.
Wait, how is he reading that? He's not even holding the tricorder.
Such tenderness.
You see Spock getting emotional there almost.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the only time he was ever kind to Spock. That's very nice.
I like this framing too.
Mm.
She's agonizing over the decision.
You really got to explain the rules of this game, man. What can we do?
Oh, they're in Q's penalty box.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're almost like the allegiance. Allegiance.
I
aliens.
was actually thinking that, but this is
Yeah.
better.
I like allegiance.
It's fine.
She can hear you guys. That's interference.
Yeah, no, I like how they're like, oh yeah, you can't urge or force it, but meanwhile we're going to talk about this.
Yeah. We decided we're going to save Earth instead.
Behold.
Didn't she not already have that, though?
Well, maybe if like you come from a planet of empaths, maybe it's just a very different experience.
Hmm. Like, it always confuses me, the term empath, but to mean empathetical as opposed to... But then would that not already mean self-sacrifice? To be empathetic to others?
Well, because they're two different things, yeah. Because there's empathic in like the powers sense, like the ability to, and then there's the actual emotional bandwidth, which is very different.
Oh no, they're Venering her.
A little bit.
I just kind of want to explode. Sorry, I'm
You're not
ruining
a
this
main
emotion.
character.
Yeah, really not.
Certainly is some very 60s music. Couldn't you just save them anyway? Why are you being dicks?
I mean, that's the point.
Let them die.
What about the instinct to protect people who have epileptic seizures?
It's this and that one
I love
Pokemon
watching
episode.
it play across your face, Stars.
No, let me touch you. It's Kirk summoning his wizard powers.
Hadouken.
It's easy for you to say.
I like the descending music as the force field drains.
But also, isn't that a terrible trap to put a Vulcan in?
Yes.
Well, they don't know much about him, to be
Yeah.
fair. Not mention, like, if I had to count the amount of times that Spock being Vulcan saved the day.
Yeah. Ezra's come to say hello. You okay? Yeah. Let me put the speakers on. You can hear it.
They ran out of budget for this. They just pointed
No
it out.
batteries.
It's so bad.
Our space batteries have run out. And they got married the very next day.
It's the
Is that
look,
really
it's
what
the
they're
Q.
doing?
It's Q from Encounter at Farpoint. I love it.
Yeah. Out there.
2 vines go out, 1 Q comes in. That's the exchange rate. You're right. I think Ben's calling you. You get to bed now, yeah? Okay. No, mate. And everything's A-okay. Diddle-a-dad.
Diddle-a-dad.
Catherine Hayes. Okay. Lal was in this?
Yes, it was one of the viands.
Well, I'm vying to start this review.
Oh my god.
Gotta get out of the way beforehand. Hang on. Right, let me sort a few things out here. Okay. Where's the right button? This is the right button. Hello, welcome to Star Trek, our ongoing journey through the annals of Star Trek, and we have brought ourselves back in time. It is 1969, 1970, something like that, and we're here at Season 3, Episode 12. There we go, 68. Season 3, Episode 12 of the original series, The Empath, as drafted by one Automaton 2000 here to my right, left, whichever way. That way, stage left. Very applicable, because this whole thing was a stage play. Auto, a customary question for the draftee. Why did you pick this episode?
I'm sure you're wondering that more than usual after this. This is the quietest review I think we've ever done, which I read as you're trying to figure out how to let me down easy as to like why the fuck we're watching this.
So I actually had to like push back on that immediately and say, no, I absolutely get why Auto picked this. This is the most Auto pick in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
If you want to eulogize me, just play this episode for the attendance, and they'll understand. So, I must have watched this several times as a kid. I watched it all as a kid, but I never got it as a kid. Like Catherine Hayes' Jem is just hammily overacting. It didn't impact on me. Never mind that she earned an Emmy nomination for her role here. That's the point of her as a mute expressing these emotions. The Vians I thought were boring. They're very subdued. I didn't get why they were boring. They've become one of my favorite villains. They remind me a lot of the Canamites in To Serve Man, but even with more nuance, I think. And so fast forward, I watched this, I think, about a year before our draft, so a year and a half ago, and I was struck by the themes. The themes were very strong. They resonate with me a lot more as an adult, and I thought, you know, if I don't draft this, we could probably go 900 more episodes before we review this one. No one talks about it. You know, I never see it brought up on Reddit, or my phone loves to push articles that were written recently. You're never going to see the Empath talked about on there. And I thought, you know, I want to kind of break it down. And so I started watching after the draft, and I fell in love with it. These themes resonate with my bleeding heart so much. And so I picked it at the end of the bench. It was rated, I think, the second lowest out of all the
Oh, really?
classic Trek properties that we drafted on IMDb. So you let me know what you guys think of it.
Yeah, so like when you I let you down easy, you're like, oh, why did you pick this? It's the most obvious like pick for you because it's pure sentiment.
Yes.
Well, like
sorry,
what?
just to vamp a
pretty
minute.
much
I've
pure
got
sentiment.
to run off for like 5 minutes. Apparently, there's a mouse in the house. I'll be back.
Oh
That's
boy,
fine. It wouldn't be an auto episode review if Idle didn't do this in the middle of the emotional
It'd be the
climax.
new
Yeah, right.
euphemism for him taking a bathroom break. Gotta
There's
let the mouse out of the
in
house.
the attic. Yeah. Okay.
Because like part of the point of doing the draft is that you start to hone in on what everyone enjoys the most in their Star Trek, right? And there are such things as nebulous ideas of quality of I just really enjoy things that are really good. Idle prefers things that are a bit more trippy, that are a bit more about the experience of it. So stuff like frame of mind or the motion picture. I prefer stuff that is very, I guess, like emotional, but also intellectualized. So stuff like Latent Image. Dan, you just have great taste overall. Like, you just pick great shit all the time. But you also just really appreciate a good moral lesson,
Yes.
a good, like,
The morality
solid
plays.
sci-fi. Yeah,
You
exactly.
got me. Mhm.
And Auto is all about emotions and sentiment and the human experience. If we're boiling it down to anything, it's the best scene in the motion picture. It's that simple feeling,
Yes.
and that's what this episode is about. It's about that simple feeling of reaching out to someone and understanding them. That's literally the point of the title. And like the instant I kind of started to realize what Jem's abilities were and what her role was in the plot, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And like you think, oh, I have to let you down easy. No, I like this episode. This is a good episode. And it's one of those instances where it's like, no, the production value is not all there. This has been done on like threepence and a ham sandwich.
Mhm.
But it's also, I think, some of the best performances you'll get from almost any of these actors. I don't know which of the Vian actors it was, but it was the one in the foreground.
Ellen Bergman.
Alan Bergman.
He plays.
His eye acting, he looked like he was about to come to tears.
Yes.
When Kirk finally broke through to him. And like you said, like it didn't unlock for you when you were a kid. And I can absolutely understand why, because that kind of nuance is totally lost on you as a kid. But watching that as an adult, you're like, that man's heart is breaking. That man is an astounding actor. He's not saying a word. He's just communicating everything through his eyes. And that's so much of like the power of it. And just like, I also just really appreciate DeForest Kelly in this episode, and just the character writing for all three of the principal cast is absolutely on point. I'm monopolizing time, but no, this was really fucking good, actually. Like, this is fucking great.
This episode kind of deconstructed what the trifecta of Kirk, Bones, and Spock is really all about, and that's really fascinating to me. It's understated throughout much of the series, and it kind of develops organically, I think. But they just lay it bare here. Really fascinating to watch them learn and come to understand just naturally as a matter of course. It's part of doing their job is how to understand how another species operates. It's why they're out there, and they just take right to it. It's great to see them just snap to. At one point, it gets a little bit weird where they almost start to think about maybe using Jim as a tool to heal McCoy, and then that's when the test leads step in and they say, nope, we got to have a pure test. You can't be tempted that way. I think the special effects, everything about this episode was very minimal, and it did very much feel like a Twilight Zone episode in that respect. It's not so much a budgetary thing either. I mean, I know that at the end of the run and money was kind of running out, but I think they did an awful lot. Otto pointed out a few of the really interesting choices they made with the camera work, with the dolly shot, and all of the scenes were blocked out so perfectly to give everybody their light, to make sure that everybody had a chance to act, and they all stood up for it. Every one of the principals was there, and in every scene, nobody was bored. They were being their character to the absolute most degree. Really fascinating. I'm so glad this episode exists, and I was wrong. It wasn't this episode that I had remembered seeing recently. In fact, I hadn't seen this from when I was a child, and the only real recollection I had of it were the hand weapons, because there weren't a lot of crazy spaceships or effect shots in this, but their hand weapons were shields, and that really spoke to me as a kid. Just something very fascinating about them using their defensive tool as offensive, and then we find out later on it's an all-purpose tool. It can heal as well as harm, and just so many interesting changes that make this episode stand out. Again, I'm going too long on this, but Idol, it's your turn. You got to tell us.
Idol, this is the polar. This pick is the polar opposite of I think what you enjoy. This is like this is your TMP where it speaks to you in a way, because I think I just sometimes I feel like you and I are polar opposites in what we enjoy, and there is a lot of overlap. But I'm fascinated out of everyone to hear what you think of this episode. You're muted.
You're muted, by the way. Well done.
Anyway,
okay.
I'm glad. I am glad this episode exists. Like Dan said. But I enjoyed it for the most part. Like, I think it was great that you prefaced it by saying it was a stage play. Like, before it was pre-show, you were like, guys, this is more like a stage play. Treat it like that. And I was like, okay, so I had that in my mindset. So I imagine I'm in there in the audience, and you can kind of forgive the fact that like there's no like effects on like the little sort of hand shields and things like that, or like any of the empath, and they'll spend a lot of time with her being very theatrical and emoting all over the place. And you know, there's a lot. I think what I enjoy most about this episode is just the Kirk, Spock, McCoy dynamic, and I think we said it as we were watching it as well. That's kind of solidified a little bit here. It's another great moment of those three being, you know, and there's a moment where they all double cross each other. Like McCoy zaps Kirk, and then is like, right, he's out. Spock's like, aha, I'm in command now. Obviously a bit more logically than that. And then McCoy zaps him, and he's like, hi, I've been betrayed. Curse you.
They're all falling over each other to fall on the sword.
They are, yeah.
So
and that's
It's like the most wholesome betrayal you could have between the three of them.
It is, and it's very in character as well, and very sort of like it's one of the things that defines what it, and I hate to use this phrase, but it means to be in Starfleet, because I hate when like modern Trek does that, but it kind of shows it without telling you. It's, you know, this is the kind of selfless sacrifice that modern humankind should be doing, and the kind of like things you should set yourselves in. The things are, you know, okay, on the flip side of it, it's a very minimal set. It's very like, yeah, okay, we didn't have a lot of money, and you can forgive a lot of that, especially in the 60s, because you have to, a lot of the time, for the most of the time, you have to sort of use your imagination to see what's actually happening on that tiny square at the other end of the living room. But when it's blown up into HD, it doesn't quite look as good. But, you know, it's, I liked the voices of our two aliens, was it Lal and Than? I wasn't too keen on the makeup. I feel like they could have just been regular guys, and it would have, considering Jem was just human in appearance, she was fine. But I did enjoy it. It was, you know, I compare it to a Twilight Zone episode, which, you know, you've been taking us through, and I've been immensely enjoying. I would say it's probably on the weaker side of a Twilight Zone episode. For me, in terms of sort of like my engagement, because I kind of felt like they kind of drifted around the overall topic for quite a long amount of time. Like they went off straight away saying, oh, she's an empath, but didn't quite work out. You know, the guessing game of the story was working out what is actually going on here, and it's kind of like a very sort of humane test to work out if we're going to be saving a species. And of course Kirk gets his moment to both give an empowering speech and take his shirt off once again. I'm gonna let you guys talk a little bit more, because I'm still kind of processing my thoughts on it a little bit. I can't quite pick a direction. I think I liked it.
Go ahead and hit the credit screen for us, because I have a lot of polls regarding the production.
Okay, so this episode was directed by John Ehrman. This is the only episode he did as well. I'll let you do the big pull for him. This was written by Joyce Muscat. She was part of the push to get fans to write scripts for shows. So this is one of her fan scripts that she entered in, and it was kind of the only one she did. She originally titled it The Answerer, and it was submitted in April 1968, and it was again refined by Arthur H. Singer, who was the person that also did Turnabout Intruder. If you want to.
Don't you try to anchor my wonderful episode with your terrible pick, Idol. I won't allow it.
No, that's fine. Do you want was it Ehrman you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I got something for everybody.
Go on.
So the director, John Erman, had a few years earlier directed an episode of The Outer Limits called Nightmare, season 1, episode 10. It's very similar. Minimal sets. Some aliens have abducted humans, and they experiment on them one by one, and they see how they interact. And so, who was it? Bob Justman, who was, I think, assistant director on that show, saw Erman direct that Outer Limits episode, tapped him to do this one. So he came in, recommended Catherine Hayes for the role of Jem. Like I said, she got an Emmy nomination for this. And then, the writer Joyce Muscat, a fan submitted, she was not in SAG. So A, they get cheaper script. B, she actually worked at Stage Theater when she first started submitting scripts. So she understood the medium. And then, of course, they had to slash budgets, I think, by like 25% in season 3. So she wrote it with that in mind. It's not going to be a big, expensive sets or effects or whatnot. So I think the production crew, they tapped people who knew what they were writing for or directing for, and then kind of let them take it from there.
I'll talk a bit about Erman himself. So Erman was the production manager on The Outer Limits, and he directed Nightmare, which was the inspiration for this episode, which also featured aliens torturing captured humans in a dark and minimalist settings. Erman was supposed to do more for Trek, however, he wasn't entirely satisfied with working conditions on Star Trek, and decided not to direct further episodes, especially, as he called it, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy's ill behaviour towards the guest director. So I gather they were being somewhat nightmarish, one might say. Yes. Fun fact, in the UK, when this was aired in the 1990s, they skipped this episode. And if anyone knows what British media was like in the 1990s, this is very anything that wasn't PC or wasn't or slightly crude or wasn't up to British standards was taken off. So this episode, Whom Gods Destroy, Plato's Stepchildren, and Miri, were all not aired in the UK in the 90s because it dealt with unpleasant subjects of madness, torture, sadism, and disease.
So these were video nasties.
And the children shall lead will also be allowed in.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Conspiracy, absolutely fine. But that was Mary Whitehouse. That was the name. Mary Whitehouse was a
Mary
very
Whitehouse
much a
heck the video nasties. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still trying to get right because in my head I'm trying to do a Schiller rating as I'm going. I'm still trying to place what I think of it because in my head I'm like you say, when you're a child, if you watch this, you go, Christ, this is slow. Not a lot going on. There's a lot of talking, and it looks hammy. And there's a lot of time spent with Jem, especially as she's pulling all sorts of strange faces. It's like, be empathetic, but don't speak. And it's like, what can you do? Especially if you're approaching it from a stage perspective, you kind of just got to go like, oh, okay, But there was a kind of soul to her character that I liked, and it was weird that they set it up as a test to see if she could represent her species when we were thinking that it was going to be Kirk, McCoy, and Spock representing their species. No, it was her. It was I don't know. I'm just stating things now, hoping I will come to a point about it, but I don't think I can.
So everybody remembers Arena. Nobody remembers the Empath, but similar themes in each one. Humanity's being put to the test, and a lot more action in one. This one we get a lot more contemplation. Also, a lot of focus on the aliens, the alien aspect of Jem, and also the two testing aliens. What's their race called? Do we have a name for their race?
Vians.
The Vians. That's right, the Vians. So. They cohabitate in the same star system, and the one's trying to find whoever the worthy race is to save. And it's interesting that they kind of leave it to the last minute, and I don't know who their backup is if Jem doesn't quite bring it through. But whatever, we won't go there. We don't know what the resolution is there.
It's interesting that the solar system seems to have multiple species on different planets. Is that right? So they've got Jem species, you've got the Vians. I think there are more. So it implies of some species evolving all in the same solar system in different environments, that's kind of more fascinating to me than the main plot.
Yeah. Well, what's more fascinating to me is why we didn't get a subplot of Scotty actually trying to save any of these races, but whatever. That's what this. I'm glad this episode was let breathe, but there was a lot of space that any sort of even just 5 minutes total worth of subplot could have been thrown in here, and we get that in a lot of other episodes where, that we got the bridge crew trying to figure their way out of some sort of dilemma, and that's I think a lot more modern trope than what we get here, where we get very single story focus on a lot of these TOS episodes. It's forgivable because the episode stands alone. One of the other interesting aspects of how alien they are is how human the scientists present. While they do look, Otto, you called out that they look very much like the aliens in To Serve Man. And I think even right down to the same aluminum foil robe that they're wearing. But when they speak, they don't have a strange after effect on their voices. They speak very much like you would be speaking to any other adult. And they clearly have the power, and they have an end that they're trying to achieve. They're very much willing to engage all of the members of the episode in a very direct way, in a very almost like an equal way. I think you can tell just from the very first interaction that they actually respect other species, and that's something interesting that plays out throughout the entire episode. That they're there for very much the same reason the Enterprise crew is there, just to achieve different ends. So it's interesting to see them kind of pit their wills against each other. Jem's portrayal is very haunting to me. It's something that they said it very early about her physiology is different, and it's funny how that pays off later. They kind of do a wry nod to Spock's neck pinch working on everybody, no matter what the race is, and they actually set up at the beginning of the episode. Well, her physiology is different. She's a mute. She was born a mute. It's not what their species possesses any capability for this. And later on, so in the next act, so Spock neck pinches and they're like, oh, well, is that even going to work? Because they already said, oh, of course it doesn't. And they were just playing possum. So I thought that was fun. They really let all of these alien races be distinct, but also relatable in a very interesting and artful way that we don't get very often. Usually there's the bad guys, the good guys. Here, everybody is all kind of just fighting for survival, and them doing that together with the different power dynamics makes this a very different episode. Exciting for me watching as an adult. Yeah, as a kid, I'd be bored off my ass. So
yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting actually, because it does actually bring to mind like a load of other episodes as well. So it reminded me, like when we're talking about archetypal auto experiences, like I think of us going through the Final Frontier, because it suddenly I was thinking of the DeForest Kelley bit where he's talking about this episode, and it reminded me of Spock and McCoy, like the attempt by Cyborg to turn them against Kirk in Final Frontier, and how. Yeah, exactly, and it just completely fails to happen, and that was against Shatner's wishes, I believe, or against the script writer's wishes, because Nimoy and Kelly were both just like, no, they would not turn against them, and it's like, yes, because clearly Shatner had forgotten about this episode where they will literally fall over themselves to save his life, no matter what they can, and also the emphasis on pain and on sharing and on it defining you, but also it really heavily reminded me of The Cage.
Yes.
Like if you're talking about the canon, it's like the Telosians are all over this as well.
Same vibes.
With your emphasis on laboratories and the loss of humanity over time as you retreat to intellect.
Sorry to interrupt you.
There's a lot of themes that recur here.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because it doesn't just show like the aliens. It's not a study on the aliens at all. They're sort of like a half point of it. It's another study of humanity. It's a study of like what, you look at Kirk, Spock and McCoy all, like you say, falling over each other, but they're doing it selflessly. They're doing it in a way that humanity should strive to become, and this is the way, not just because it's the chain of command, he's the captain, he has to go first. No, because it's the good thing they want to do. This is what they should do because that's the right thing, as opposed to the very self-indulgent thing to do, which is also a test that Jem is going through. So it's interesting in that regard. Same with like The Cage as well, and Final Frontier as well.
Yeah, no, it's just very interesting that it's like Starfleet. It's kind of interesting to me that like the two researchers who are basically kind of an afterthought, really, that they're only really there to facilitate the principal characters being there. But there's also an implication that they failed their test, presumably because they weren't up to the same snuff that Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are, and like the emphasis on them as incredible individuals and the allowance of them to serve as an ideal for Jem to strive towards is also really cool. Because we spend so much time especially in modern Trek, of like, talking about how flawed our characters are and leaning into soap opera, it was kind of refreshing to have an episode that's like, no, Starfleet officers are an absolute ideal that you can strive towards, to the point where like they will compete amongst themselves to be an ideal. And what does that look like to an outside perspective? Like, you have to kind of wonder, like, or like when Jem touches Spock, and she kind of understands in an instant what he feels for Kirk and for McCoy. And just like the outside perspective on what these people look like to others, that kind of it was a really nice binding experience for in terms of it being an empathic experience of communicating what it really is to be a Starfleet officer in a way. And I also just find it interesting. We talk about humanity, and then I think about Azette Burr's remark about human rights. Even the very term is racist. It's like, we kind of hope that what we call humanity, which is morality, decency, kindness, empathy, that these are like qualities that are inherent and innate to everything. We kind of hope that about any being that has risen up out of the primordial soup. And this is an episode kind of testing that of, is that an inexorable quality in other people? Can self-preservation persist over some selflessness, and Jem struggle with that. So yeah, it's just really fucking interesting, and that's why it's like it's very, very minimal, but it's very archetypal Star Trek when you really boil it down to its base components. Like, it's almost like the diluted undiluted. It's the pure essence of what Star Trek is really about.
I forget, was it Dan? Did you say it's like a deconstructed, characterization of these people? It is like taking everything apart that sort of like makes like the essential oils of Star Trek, and sort of it's like taking a Star Trek apart like as a Lego set, and just sort of going, well, what if we put these parts over here in a kind of different way, not in a kind of sort of like in a modern way where they do it in like, okay, this is a different flavor of Star Trek. This is like different parts of those elements and blocks doing. I don't know, I'm getting very metaphysical here, but you kind of see what I'm saying. Like, what if we did this on a black stage and just got them talking for an hour?
That's a big part of why it appeals to me, is you don't need to have ships warping in to save the day in a Star Trek episode. It's fucking cool when it happens in First Contact, in Strange New Worlds this last season, but I can live with Star Trek without it. It's cool to have, some engineering solution with the transporter that fixes things, but you can have Star Trek without it. Everything that's in this episode, basically, you can't have Star Trek without what is in this episode, I think. That's just why it appealed to me. Two things, Dan, I want to touch on that you hit on. Yeah, if you guys remember the Canmitz in To Serve Man, Stars might remember this, he sets down the cookbook on the table and he walks away because the Canmitz don't care if you know. In this episode, the Vians tell them how their force field works. They don't care if they figure it out. They leave them the multi-purpose tool. They don't care if you know how to figure it out, and they figure it out every step of the way. They get the tool to work, they break out of the force field, and it still doesn't stop them. The neck pinch doesn't do anything. I like that these guys are like this implacable enemy. How do you beat them? You have to go essentialist. You have to go human. You have to go motion. You can't just, hand wave it with a phaser or something. You've got to try a different tack. I really like that. But unlike the Canvas, I think there's a lot more nuance here. When they first have Bones in the chains, they say this line, "Doctor, please understand, if there were any other way to accomplish our goals." They have inside them, they have that empathy, they have the understanding, but it's been lost somehow over the years. And it has to be stirred by, at the end, Shatner. God, I love Shatner. Everyone thinks of Picard for the speeches. He's a great orator. But if you want to really stir the soul, like that is what Shatner's calling card when he gives these speeches are so good at the end. So I really like that the Vians, I think, are a lot more nuanced, a lot more subtle than just like the evil Greys. One other thing you said also, yeah, they didn't do the AB plots back then. That was more Berman era that introduced that as the formula. But, there's this episode where you only get the main three. We drafted Counterpoint, which is pretty much a Janeway episode. Chain of Command, we talked about in that one. There wasn't enough for Beverly. So we're drafting all these episodes where actually you don't have a whole ensemble thing. And yes, like we acknowledge that as something that would be great, but I'm starting to come around. Like maybe that's just a plus if they do it. It's not a detriment if they don't do it, because there's so many great episodes that just focus on one or two or three characters.
I mean, this is we expect TOS to be, the big three and then everyone else. We're lucky that Scotty or Chekhov will make an appearance and get some sort of subplot. I'm not expecting an entire episode around them because that's not the television they made at that time. In the TNG Voyager to Voyager era, yeah, sure, we'd get that, and then nowadays, who knows? But yeah,
I'm gonna have one quick rebuttal to something you said, Otto, and not really a rebuttal, but just to go further. So you mentioned how understated the Vions are and their purpose for being there, but their purpose would appear on its surface as being nothing but empathic and compassionate and human. The willingness for them to sacrifice what last few moments they have before their solar system is destroyed in the interest of saving another race that's within their solar system. Completely selfless goal. But in their advanced scientific discipline, it winds up coming across as the logical solution, the Spock solution. Well, I have this essence I have, and it's only logical that I use it to save somebody else. It's nothing human about them, and I think that's where the interest they have in the trio comes with the humanity and their self-sacrifice, not out of any sort of interest or test results that they're looking for, but just simply because it's the way that they do things. So I just wanted to say, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and it's great that the episode doesn't hit you over the head with it, but really fascinating that it's still there after you strip it away. Okay.
I want to talk about, because Otto knows me and knows that I like, especially with the Twilight Zone episodes that you've recommended me before. You say I'm never going to have a 10, but I've given you lots of 10s for, Twilight Zones. I've given you some good scores for the episodes you picked for me. But
hey, wear it like a badge of honor. Make me work for it, Idol.
Yeah, no, too right. But it's two men in a room and just talking. I love things like that where they, two very good actors can captivate a scene with their performances. So what's great about books like 1984 and things like that, it's two people just really engaging over a serious conversation. I feel like this tried to do that. This tried to ape some of the best things of Twilight Zone, or tried to do like what 12 Angry Men did, which is also another excellent film that I absolutely love because it
Waiting
is...
for Godot. Yeah,
I haven't seen that, but I probably would. Okay. I probably would enjoy that. But
the other stage play is just two people interacting over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to add that because there's a version of that with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. I think it was just the stage play, but I don't know if there's been anything. I'd watch that. Anyway, I digress. But there, this tries to be that, but I feel like there's a little too much just coming in on the edges. Like there is that sci-fi thing of okay, these overarching benevolent aliens want to save everyone apart from themselves, but can they prove that the people they want to serve will be self-sacrificing? So let's just get this random starship that's walked in, investigating their two outpost personnel that have disappeared or are dead. They're gone. So I feel like that was kind of dropped early. In the favour of just kind of doing a little bit of a shocking thing. But also some of the dialogue wasn't... there was a lot of right, let's have this stuff where we work out what Gem is. Okay, let's have this stuff where they're all arguing amongst themselves. Let's have Kirk topless for a bit, because everyone loves Shatner topless, especially Shatner. There was just a little bit too much in there to kind of distract, and I feel like there's just a bit too much not to... Almost became unengaging at a point. I don't know if you see what I mean there.
I kind of have a different opinion. One of my notes I wrote here is that it seems like there's very few production notes on this episode. Like they really kind of let the team have creative control, and so the shirtless Kirk may have been one of those notes. You got to put something on there, to let the wives sit down and join their husbands watching it. But I think that they avoided the trap they fall into so often of taking the female co-star and making her a love interest. Zarabeth wound up being so here she stands alone, and her sole purpose, and she's allowed to think and act independently, giving the character complete independence without any intervention whatsoever from the three white men, and just saying, no, you need to let her do her thing. This is the most important thing. What a powerful message that is to have on 70s television, 60s to late 60s television. Remarkable. Again, no spaceship or starship shots here. The props are very minimal, rolled onto the set. I think the most exciting thing we get is the little jump cuts with the rainbow effects when they're trying to make people appear and disappear. But that's only just to advance the plot along. They let the production team do what they thought they could do best, which, Otto, as you said, just a fantastic stage play, just set up the way they wanted to set up, blocked out the way they wanted to really tell an effective story.
People say all the time... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stars.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to sort of go on with Idol's point. Is all these like elements, yeah, they may seem disparate, but they are all essentially driving toward a singular point, which is it is all the progression of Jem's journey toward making that final decision. Ultimately,
Maybe I need to watch 50 times to get it.
Well, maybe just the second time round knowing what the twist is.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, I feel like that's actually what it is, because it's like you get into it thinking this is a episode of Star Trek, and yeah, it is, but it's also more of an episode of whatever Jem's people are, we don't know what their race name is, featuring the Star Trek cast. Like, yeah, Kirk ultimately delivers the summation that gets Jem out of the problem, but the ultimate driving force and the actual decision that saves the day is hers. And it's all about adding to that and giving her that understanding. And everything that happens in the episode does do that. Everything that is done in this episode is for her benefit. And that's part of the reason why they have to give so much focus to her, is because they are telling you through camera work and through the focus on her that she is the one you'll need to be paying attention to. Yes, everyone else is doing their thing, but she's doing the important one. And you have to consider it through her eyes. Like, I imagine you could do a really interesting novelization or an anthology story about what this looked like from her perspective and what it felt like to feel everyone else's pain and what they said what they said we're looking like through their eyes. And it's also just really interesting that she's been there for a while, and you kind of almost wonder, did she have to go through this with the other scientists, with other people? Yeah. And what kind of suffering she must have witnessed potentially. How many times have the Vians made her do this? Have other members of her race been made to do this? There's a soft kind of horror there that these elements, the two researchers adds, that build up the Vians as that kind of softening, malevolent force. And I don't feel like they're frippery or inessential. They just add to the layers, as it were. This is a very essential oils episode, but it needs all of these things in order to create a proper thesis on what it is to be a person who sacrifices yourself.
Do you feel like it delivered that message succinctly, though? Because I feel like it all kind of came to the end, and that was we're straining to at this point we're 40 minutes in, and we're right, what appreciate, to me, I haven't watched this episode for 10 years and didn't watch it properly the first time I watched it, and I'm trying to go right, what are they after here? What is the point? And I feel like it was, they delivered the point, and then Kirk had an issue with it. It's well, this is wrong because I said so. Also,
well, no, it's because it's the essential. When I was watching the episode, because this is my first time watching it, they say the entire purpose of our scientific experiment is to prove that Jem's people have the capacity to overcome the instinct for self-preservation, which has been reiterated by McCoy 2 or 3 times at this point, and sacrifice herself. And it's okay, cool. Fine, that's their aim. And then, of course, Kirk has an issue with it, because, I was literally sitting here do you not see how obviously hypocritical it is to be putting so-called lesser beings in a fucking rat maze to prove their empathy for other people while yourselves being unempathetic dickwads? And then Kirk turns around and says, hey, do you guys not realize you're being unempathetic dickwads so that someone else has to prove what you've already proven you lack? That's why it's Kirk, of course Kirk has an issue with it. Don't you have an issue with it? I was you're a hypocritical asshole. And then when he gets it pointed out to him, it'd be very easy for him to pull a Q or another or a Trelane or another omnipotent being spiel of, well, I'm better than you. I understand better than you. I've been around for XYZ millions of years. I'm the sum totality of my race, and I know better. And it's no, they're moved to tears because, oh yeah, we did forget we used to care. Fuck. All right, let's get on with fixing the thing we're here to do. That's ultimately what it's about.
All right, let me try to bridge the gap here, because in one sense, I do agree, Idle. The especially the first half is slower. There are episodes, thinking of the ones that we've already reviewed, like Night or Timeless, maybe, where each scene is great. Great scene after great scene. Ultimate Computer's another one. After great scene. Yeah. And this one doesn't have that, but it does build, and it reminds me of Similitude that I drafted. If you go watch Similitude, the first like 60% is like whatever. You have young Trip wandering around doing things in engineering, but it all builds toward the end, and so it all points for the end. You know, like the shock value that you mentioned with Lincoln Ozaba in the little test tubes, it does add something to the episode. It adds the threat, the sort of Damocles over their head. This is what might happen to you. It also shows that they failed. Where can you succeed where they didn't? The wandering around stuff, I mean, they do keep that minimal, but it's just, it doesn't grab you. But it does build toward the end. I think the two scenes that especially stick out is when Bones is close to death and you just get this outpouring, this wellspring of emotion from all three characters. Kirk is beside himself. You don't know you're not a doctor. Like, he's just desperate to save his friend. And then we get some emotion from Spock cradling Bones' head. And then at the end, where Kirk calls him out as being hypocritical, you've lost the capacity to feel what you brought Jem here to experience. And so, yeah, the first half is slow. Maybe the first 3/4 even, I would say.
I think it's not that it's
can
slow,
lack in places, but I think it points toward where they want to go.
I think it's more that it meanders. It meanders around a point that the Cage did more succinctly. I feel I'm trying to explain something I can't quite explain in my feeling. I feel like we're talking about pacing. We're talking about episodes like Night and the other one mentioned, and we're talking about how those kept us gripped the whole way through. I feel like there was part of this episode I was a bit like, this feels like we're playing for time a little bit, and it feels like we're spending a lot too much. Jem should be the focus point of the episode, but she wasn't the focus point in the right way for me. Like, she was very much like a mute, which was great, but I felt there was a lot of amateur dramatic sort of face acting and sort of very much sort of hand movements and gestures in a very 60s way that wasn't constructive to the overall point they were trying to make with her character. I'm sorry. I have to. I know you got a problem with it. You always. No, it's fine. It's fine. You do it.
How would you change that then?
That's
because
the problem,
she does do a few things, like when they're going to teleport back to the ship. I found it hilarious. I called it out. Spock is like, all right, this is working. Let's go back to the ship. And Kirk is like, wait, shouldn't we get Bones first? She has this look on her face. She looks to Kirk. She walks over and picks up Bones' instruments that he left behind. She's saying, we have to go get him first. She does things non-verbally as much as she can to contribute to the story. How would you change that if not facial expressions?
It's a weird thing, and the only thing I can compare to is Vina, really. Like, in the similar kind of situation, Vina was put there as... Or on the flip side, Pike was the experiment and Vina wasn't, but Vina was there as part of the accessories. If you kind of flip that, then... she has to play the part. They have to play the part of Vina and sort of put her through the different scenarios. And I feel like a lot of the focus was on Kirk and McCoy for not as much as Spock, as a little bit on Spock, especially when they were sort of going through the hypo spray hot step. But it was more on. I forgot my point. Fuck, brain's just died on me. Anyway.
Stars.
Yeah. So when I was watching what she was doing, what I was actually kind of struck by was the knowledge that Peter Weller went to mime school. And the over-exaggerated movements that went into creating like RoboCop, and the communication through body language and through over-expressing through body language. And I think what you're butting up against, Seidel, is that what you want is
my
for
own
it
prejudice.
to be a bit more natural.
How dare you?
No, I'm saying that what you want, because I have an issue with the over-dramatic side of it, is that you want it to be more naturalistic, right? Like, you want it to be more like...
It's not.
You want... And that's the thing. It can't be. The very nature of the emotions they're feeling, and B, the nature in which she's experiencing them, preclude you from doing that.
Well, let's talk about Spock
especially like if I can't think of how you would communicate I'm feeling what you're feeling without tight shot on her and just the slow play of the emotion and you watching it unfurl through her. Like, if you think about what she's feeling, it has, and what she's trying to express, it has more in common with like ballet or opera or like classical
Yeah.
music than it does with naturalistic drama.
She's
that's
acting
what
to the
she's
back
doing.
row. I think it also fits the
Yeah.
stylizing of
Yeah.
stage theater. She's playing to the back
Yeah.
row.
This is what I play. You know, I like plays. I don't like musicals, but so I have a sort of. I'm not keen on opera, so I have a thing about like over dramatization. But then I think about Spock, and especially in this episode when it looked like McCoy was going to kick it, and there was just a moment focus frame on Spock, and it's brilliant, and it's what Ethan Peck does very well as well, and it's just like. And T'Pol, Jolene Blalock as well, does amazingly. The ability to be a character that can't show emotions, showing just a fucking explosion of emotions in just very subtle ways. I think that is much more a masterclass of emotional control than being over dramatic, which I can appreciate for a species, and I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense for a race that has to only use that as a form of communication. But I feel like for my taste, and it's my taste kind of thing, I find it a bit hammy, but then I'm not in. Yeah, that's what I got.
No, I mean,
Well, it
I
also-
see that it's the exact
Yeah.
same complaint I would bring up in a number of other episodes. The reason it doesn't bother me here is because it's kind of the point. She is a mute. She has to communicate that way.
Hang
And
on,
also
I'll be
the way they play at each other. Kirk is very subdued in a few moments when he's with her, and he lets her be big, and he's small. Right after he gets beamed back, if there's a decision to make, I'll make it. And you see him just slowly wringing his hands. He kind of leans forward, hunches forward. But then he gets to be big in other areas. When he's the focus point, that's slow-mo outside, which is so goofy. It's so over the top. And so they do try to modulate. When she's the focus, she gets to be big. And then everyone else kind of pulls back.
Yeah, it's like if I think about this in terms of like an artistic school, it's like it's expressionistic more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's trying to paint everything in big broad colors so that you get it. And it's also what else it makes me think of in terms of like from an anthropological point of view is that if we follow the natural points of gem species forward, like so this is a race that cannot communicate verbally. Like they have to communicate through body language. And there's a degree of it reminds me a bit of a line from modern Doctor Who from like 2008 of the Ood, where this is a race that are born with their brain in their hands, like they have a hind brain that allows them to like articulate and they're telepathic. And one of the characters makes a point about of course they're peaceful. A alien like that has to trust that anyone that it meets is honest and kind and gentle because it literally has its brain in its hand. Like it's like this alien race has evolved in such a way that it cannot help be honest and quote unquote over dramatic. And so like it makes perfect sense to me that she's like that. It's like criticizing something for being the way that it only can be. Like you can only tell this story this way. Like if you try to tell this naturalistically, I think you'd lose a lot of what makes it work, frankly. And I get the point that what you're doing with Vulcans is communicating a lot of emotion through a block of lack of emotion, but that's just a completely different like assignment. Like you're asking an apple to be an orange, and it's like no, let the orange be an orange, as it were.
Yeah,
To give Idle's back now. I was going to speak on your behalf, but just a little bit more on this from where Idle's coming from, because there are a lot of conventions that storytelling uses when there are differently enabled characters. Riva and his chorus, they speak for him. Deanna can speak for herself, for better or for worse. She's got some awful lines. Happiness and great joy. But another TOS episode, the one with Diana Muldaur in it, was where she's got the Medusans and she's a blind telepath. Is there no truth and beauty? Is there no truth?
Yeah,
and beauty?
yeah.
Right.
She's in a
So she, she adapts with her sensor web, and she, there's a way for people to perceive and communicate and interact that lets us, the viewer, still understand what's going on. And this episode takes an enormous swing by saying we're not going to use any of that. We're going to use simply the physicality of this actress and the reactions of everybody else in the episode to be the surrogate for the viewer. And the point is that we're supposed to react to the mystery and the kind of the ephemeral nature of this character in a way to try to figure her out. And we never really quite do. I'll point it out at the end. She really never is called to make the sacrifice. That the test is ended right at the seminal moment. I guess the point is made that it doesn't really matter if they follow through or not. But I'm fascinated that they were allowed to take it in that direction to the extent that they did. And to that end, the score does so much of a heavy lifting. And Otto, I know you'll have a lot to say about the score in this episode, but her voice is really the voice of the orchestra. And so the emotions that we feel, and that's the way that they convey her, like that's how she communicates with us. Her entire life is communicated with emotion, and the only way to make the audience feel that along with her is to use the orchestra. And that's where it's one of the most amazing parts about this episode to me, is that they got it and they were able to put it on TV for a solid hour and get it over to something that we can watch. I don't think I've ever seen an episode like this that was allowed to really have that latitude of Star Trek or really much of anything.
Yeah, I'll get to the music stuff in a second. I wanted to hit on a couple themes that because I think it lacks in a lot of ways, but the themes are probably my favorite in all of Star Trek. In one, that they give her the superpower of empathy. Like empathy isn't just some abstract thing; it can literally heal you. And ironically, that's true in real life. Like it can't mend broken bones, but it can heal scars. It can heal you from the inside out. And I think giving it that extra, almost supernatural power is like I love that, because how much healing could we do in real life if everybody had that level of empathy? A couple hours ago, I was watching some nature documentary narrated by Barack Obama, funnily enough. And they do these cut-ins every 15 minutes showing the plastic buildup of the ocean and all the damage it's doing. Like, how much could we heal in our world if empathy was our focus? One other thing that struck me is, I don't usually like pointed references to contemporary religion in Star Trek. I like that degree of separation. They quote Psalms at the beginning, and then Scotty calls the parable of the Pearl of Great Price. And if you think about it, what's the greatest self-sacrifice story in human history?
That's the story of Jesus.
It's Jesus, right? So I think that really marries up well in this episode. I like that they include that.
Not Star Trek: The Search for Spock, then. That's not the greatest sacrifice. No.
All right, let me hit on
your name
quickly.
Your name is Jem. Wait, fuck. Damn it! I knew I forgot something.
Jem Kirk.
Fuck me.
All right, let me hit on the music quickly, because I know we've been going on for a while. A quote from composer George Dooning in a 1982 interview. Bob Justman, who hired him, knew my penchant for melody, that I love to write melodically. Star Trek stories were utterly from the heart and called for heart music that stirs the emotions. I've gone down the rabbit hole on this, too. If you want to look up David Page on YouTube, he has a series called Scoring Star Trek. And he goes through, among other things, the orchestral composition. For a lot of these early episodes, Corbomite Maneuver, Cage, where no man has gone before, they get these big, heavy woodwind and brass sounds. You get these like deep, dark action tones and, blaring the orchestra. This episode has no woodwinds. The only brass is a French horn. They have 15 strings, including 6 violins. So it's a totally different sound. I mentioned the Yamaha E3 orchestra that was brand new at the time. They also bring in crotales, which are they date from the Bronze Age. They're these little tuned cymbals. This guy uses the whole spectrum. And I realized after the draft, all 3 of my TOS episodes were scored by him. So I think something that he does with the melody, with the heart music, it marries up beautifully with those emotional stories that I really like. I called out, there's a scene after they blink Kirk back after they've tortured him. And the Vians hold Spock and Bones in a force field they can't help. And Jem has to decide, do I help him? Do I heal him at the cost of myself? And they play her leitmotif in 5/4. It's a little bit askew. They play that against the Vians. They have this little like tritone diminished fifth thing that conveys some unease. And they play a measure of her theme and then a measure of the Vians theme as she's struggling to decide, whether or not to do that. And there's a lot of little cues that they bring forward, because I believe the rules at the time, because the orchestra was union. The union rules were you could reuse cues within the same production year as long as you gave them like 40 hours work for that year. If the union musicians. So you'll hear this all throughout season 3. The other stuff you scored in season 2, you'll hear all throughout season 2, and but a lot of it is bespoke. Like when Spock is passing out, they play these descending notes. When the force field loses power, same thing. So I just, I could wax about it all day, but the point is, I think the score marries up very well to what's happening on screen, and so I credit George Dooning for that, who does a great job.
Okay, I think it's time we went on to bread. The moment or the sequence in the episode that stood out to you in the same way that Cisco going bread did to us in Babel. Dan, let's start with you. What slice of bread have you got for us this week?
It wasn't the best part of the episode or the worst part of the episode, but I really like Captain Scott. I like when he gets charge of the Enterprise, when everybody's away in an away team and they got no business sending the 3 principals down on the planet at the same time, so that the chief engineer has to take over and run the ship. But you know what? He's in charge. He's there, empathizing with his crewmates. It was nice. I wish would have gotten a little bit more of that as the episode went on, but it wasn't in the cards. Didn't really need it. But yeah, and then of course we did get a call back to him later on with this shit-eating grin. Hey guys, on the
That
surface.
was so funny. He's waving. He's like,
With the
"Hey!"
zoom in and everything, yeah.
Yeah, so, my bread.
I'm gonna go next.
Let me ask, because we all laughed when it happened. Scotty's on the bridge. He delivers this line. I'm sure Kirk was more worried about us than we were about him. Torture, right? Cut to torture. Was that good? Was it good for the laugh?
Yeah, it was okay. It was fine. It was
Or did
I
it
think it was
undercut
kind of
something?
needed. No, I think that
Yeah,
was
it was
needed
alright.
because you're never under any impression that Kirk is gonna die, so you kind of need to get a laugh because God knows there aren't a lot of other laughs in here.
My bread is going to be the literal moment when McCoy is dying, dying. He doesn't die, obviously. We see him in many episodes in the future. And then Spock takes that moment to actually compliment him and say, you're a good doctor. He holds his head, and you see a close-up shot of Spock, and you almost see the well of tears in his eyes, and it's very powerful. Nimoy. Oh boy, I'm so sorry.
Hey, special guest star.
Hello.
You get a couple of minutes. Go on.
I don't have anything to say apart from my feet are wet. It's raining outside.
How big was the mouse?
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, there may be a mouse in the house, but
that's
don't
the
tell
mouse.
them there is a mouse in the house because I've told him there isn't one.
I know there is because
Not
Cleo was
anymore.
after it the other day.
Okay, where is it?
I think it's in the utility room cupboard.
Fantastic. Anyway, we're doing our bread. What was your bread of the episode?
Can I hear?
No.
Pumpernickel.
No,
She
you
was,
cannot
she
have
was
a go.
made for the
You
stage.
know what happens when you
Look,
have
she
a
loves
go.
the camera, darling.
He finds it funny.
See, there you
Bread.
go. Bread.
You could just
What's
be
your
our
bread of
gem.
the episode.
You have to shout at my face.
I do because I've got the headphones on.
I can hear you.
We've got to torture Idle and see if his wife will save him
Brown
for the
bread.
sake of the
Brown bread.
planet.
She likes brown bread. Brown bread. What, not a 50-50 loaf, just pure brown?
Barley,
I mean,
Barley bread?
rye.
We don't have that kind of bread here.
No.
my feet are wet.
Right, go dry your feet. Can I continue this, please, without having to disrupt the whole thing like you did that one time?
No, it's not going to happen.
It really is. All right, I'll tell you what. I'll put the speakers on.
I'll
You
tune in
guys
later
continue.
for the foot washing scene, up the
What are
long
you gonna
ladder.
go
Oh,
No, we haven't got any.
You drunk them all?
Yeah, they're all gone. Stars, what's your bread?
My bread easily has to be it's the moment where Alan Bergman as Lal just has those
yes.
watery eyes like that. It's so good. It's one of those things where it's you don't always think of the 60s as a decade that has a lot of really good face acting. At least I don't think so. But maybe I need to reconsider that because he's just fucking great. I don't know what other credits he has to his name.
Yeah,
I
But
watched
so
him
much
in
he's doing with
$6
his
Million
eyes.
Man after this.
Yeah.
because
Really sort of really deep voice as well. Like
See.
I swear I've heard his stuff before. Like a definitely sort of very memorable voice.
and it is, you know,
Apparently-
to Idle's point about it being a little slow, they actually go back and forth on reaction shots like 6 times. Shatner to Bergman, Shatner to Bergman, Shatner to Bergman, and then he finally breaks through. He's like, okay.
Yeah, no, that was easily my bread of it. Like just it's especially notable because the other Vian doesn't react almost at all. Like there's a glimmer of it on his face, but you can tell that it's really Lal that Kirk gets through to, and that's gonna stick with me for a while. I think that's my bread.
Otto, you must have like 5 breads for this episode. Got a whole loaf.
I got a
in there.
billion breads. I'm gonna just stick to one though. It is Jem's theme. Da 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 da.
These are really wet.
Da, 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 da. And the thing is, I noticed on like rewatch number 8 or 9, they play it for Jem every time. They play it one other time that's not for Jem, and it's at the end. When they break through to the Vians, they go over and heal McCoy, and they play Jem's theme because it's not about her, it's about empathy and understanding and self-sacrifice. And so I like that they use it there as well. Bread.
Bread.
Do you reckon anyone wants a pickle?
Yes, Louise has a top with pickles on it, and she's very impressed because it's pickles.
I was wondering what that was. Yeah.
It's a little jar of pickles.
Okay.
So what's your pickle of the episode? No, okay, let's move
Anyone
it.
What's your bread and butter pickles of the episode?
Okay, without further ado,
The best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
best and worst moments of the episode.
What a hunk Idol is. He just has women hanging all over him.
He loves it really, doesn't he?
Best and worst moments while I'm dealing with this. Stars, you
I'm
start.
just gonna let
off.
you. Oh, I was gonna let you luxuriate in your awkwardness.
Oh, I do love my wife, but she does pick her moments.
Best, I'm gonna have to pick. There's 2 moments that come to mind, but I'm gonna nab it before you guys do. It's the hypo spray hot step where you go from freaking
Oh yeah, that.
McCoy hypo spraying Kirk so that he can't make the decision, Spock trying to leap on the sword so that he can take the command decision, and then McCoy just like very, very, and dip, there you go, I got you. And the sheer betrayal, like you said, it's a wholesome betrayal, and it just epitomizes that these 3 men would happily die for each other, but they're not going to let anyone else die first. They all want to be the first one to die, you see. And it's just so heartwarming and comedic at the same time, and that's kind of a rare thing to manage to balance. But it's perfect. If you want an epitome of these 3 men's dynamics, especially, that's it. It tells you everything you need to know about them. My worst moment, it's probably Jem and the Vians just slowly disappearing away.
Really?
Like,
Oh, I love
it's
that.
really-
The anti-Q encounter and far point thing, yeah.
It's so goofy. The thing is, I say
must go to our
worst
home
as if
planet
I
now.
didn't like anything in this episode.
No.
It just really made me laugh. But I didn't hate it. It's more just a case of like it was hokey, but I laughed, but I didn't hate it. Like I was.
I
like,
gotta
this is
say,
fun.
it's so memorable. They actually do it again in All Good Things. Q exits the same way at the end of his little, so.
But yeah, it's so goofy, and I say worst. It's like maybe like
You're
I don't know,
entitled to
quote
it.
unquote. Yeah, my quote unquote least best, but it really just did make me laugh. It took me out a little bit.
Dan.
He holds his little shield and then they freeze frame and they just... That's great. Idle. What is your best and worst?
Okay, I did call that.
Because I will steal your best, I think.
Okay, I am absolutely. Well, since you've given me the opportunity, I'm going to go right in there for Shatner's end speech because it is a good speech. It's a classic, quintessential Shatner doing his best to philosophize the moment and just explain it all to us plebs who didn't get it the first time round. My worst, I think it's just going to be. I mean, I appreciate it's a bottle episode, but you didn't have to strip out the entire room You could have done something. They've got sets and car parks. You could have done something. They could have even held it on the Enterprise.
Want this to be shot in a car park?
Oh, you know, they do forests and car parks, things like that. You know, and well, maybe not in the 60s. But okay, whatever. Anyway, stripping it back to be a stage play is one thing, but then this was very much just like, what have we got lying around? Okay, we've got these consoles, cover them with asbestos. We've got this engineering mainframe over here. Let's just put that in, and it felt like a bit of a, oh yeah, we're saving money, like really bad here. Like, and appreciate they were, but they had sets, so they could have maybe done something there. So probably my worst. That is a nitpick. I feel like that's my outstanding worst. Dan, best worst.
We're all kind of clustered up against the end of the episode here, but I think my favorite part was when Kirk makes his impassioned speech, and the Vions just shut up, end the experiment, and get the fuck out. Like, they're completely dumbfounded. Like, it's just great. It's perfect. Like, there's nothing more to say. Yep, you made your point. They just silently walk over and treat McCoy, and that's also my worst part of the episode is when their little shield triphasers,
no
budget
budget.
They have. You know, they may as well just made the mouth noises.
Oh
with
no!
it.
Can I just highlight?
There's no special effects.
Can I just highlight Mr. Pointing? He lost his gun, so the only thing he can do is point to the other guy. You shoot now. This guy.
So yeah. My best and worst are nested within each other, but still just a great ending, guys. So I will agree with you two and find my own favorite part in it. So, all right, Otto.
It's not even like a stylistic choice. It's like a production goof. Like, they don't have any budget. They didn't play a noise. They didn't play an effect. He just points at it, and McCoy sits up. It's like, I would blast any other episode for this, but this is my baby. So my worst moment, and it's really, it sounds weird, but it's the only thing that actually bothers me in this episode. That force field effect is so fucking obnoxious. It gives you it's seizures pumped straight into your brain.
It's this
and the thing is, they hold on
episode.
They go on it over and over and over again. They're arguing while they're in the force field, and it just blasts you right in the face. It's actually obnoxious. I have two bests for you, and you can tell by my cup they're going to be both Spock bests.
Ooh.
I was half expecting you to pick up a gem action figure, but okay.
Oh, I'd buy one if they made it.
I'm sure they did.
One is the one that I called out several times. McCoy laying there close to death. You've got a good bedside manner, Spock. And they cut to his close-up. And Nimoy is a very intentional actor. His mouth opens and he doesn't speak, and that's all you need to say. And I did a rewatch of the whole series recently. One other time he does that. It's another emotional moment. I forgot to jot it down. He's very intentional. When his mouth opens and he doesn't speak, for a Vulcan, that is significant. So I love that. The other moment, Kirk is speeching at them at the end. If death is all you understand, here are 4 lives for you. And he turns it around to Spock to grab the little utensil from him. And before he can complete his turn, Spock is already lifted. And you could just say that's an actor hitting his mark, and it probably was. But in my head, Spock is so in tune with Kirk. He knew what he was going to do. He knew what he was going to go for. And he lifted his arm before Kirk could get the line out. And I'm like, they're so in sync in this episode. They're such a tight triad. I really love their dynamic in this one. So even though, Kirk and McCoy get the big torture scenes and get, maybe more of the emotional dialogue, Spock is really understated. He's that third part of the triad that is really needed. So there's my double Spock best.
Double Spock. You said our keyword. Okay, right, let's carry on to gentlemen.
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3-5. Associational rating norm -3.
That's much too low a rating.
I was not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
I mean, this is the one trigger that's too sacred to interfere with. I'll do the best worst all day long, but this one you just can't. It's much too low a rating. Otto, what is our Schiller rating? No, what was the other rating code? We had a new rating code in this.
The Ritter rating.
The Ritter rating.
The Ritter
For this
scale.
episode only, you're going to give us a Ritter rating.
Okay. I very much wanted to go with substantial collection of objects, because I think that's a hilarious line. It's the most nondescript line by Spock ever. That's up there with fairly heavy chests from the battle as like this perfect bottom note that you can hit. But in the keeping of the minimalist episode, I have to ask, gentlemen, how many prime ingredients are in this episode?
Wonderful.
What is the prime ingredient?
Good one.
It's empathy. It's self-sacrifice.
It's
That's
love.
the prime
But they
ingredient.
were looking for the prime ingredient in the TOS 3. Were they looking for empathy in them or in Jem?
Yes, they found. Yeah, when they're in the outdoor set and Kirk says, "Let them go. You can have me." That's the self-sacrifice they were looking for.
Let them go.
Prime ingredient is the fifth element.
Multipass. Stars.
So I pre-rated this 7.5, and like throughout this, I was weighing it up. I was thinking about, okay, how much do the production foibles genuinely bug me? It's a very stripped back episode, like you said. Like, there's no Uhura, there's no Chekhov. Sulu has maybe 3 lines,
Which is more than most episodes, to be fair. So this is probably a very Sulu episode.
Yeah. The Vians are basically just discount Canamites or Telosians. They're very just in a way. If I'm being as unfair as I possibly can, don't worry. I'm trying to articulate the things I'm trying to talk down to myself in my brain. Shatner's overacting for half a minute, just going on the floor.
I'd forgotten about that. His whole slow-mo scene was like...
Yeah.
How many times on his back was he done?
3 times.
3 times.
3 shots in the back.
But in the end...
No.
3 back shots? Okay.
We should at least get a
shat in the
Richard
back,
out
you
for 3
peg.
back
Oh, no.
shots.
Oh, God. Oh, incredible. But in the end, what I'm actually going to take away from this episode is an incredible 45 minutes, or maybe 50 minutes, of just extolling the virtues of empathy and compassion and humanity, and the idea that these are inherent qualities throughout the universe if only we'll let them be so. It's maybe DeForest Kelly's finest hour of acting. Shatner is remarkably subdued in points in a way that's really genuinely very effective. Leonard Nimoy, as usual, hits it out of the park with some really understated moves. All the supporting cast are absolutely on point. I could absolutely see why Jem's actress earned an Emmy nomination for this. I feel like it's maybe a shame that she didn't get it. I'm very curious to know what she lost against. Yes, the sets are very, very minimal, but who gives a fuck? So I think I would have to give this 8.9 prime ingredients out of 10. This is really good, especially for TOS season 3. I feel like this is hitting way above so many of its packmates in the season. This is just, like you say, it's a prime ingredient of Trek. And if you wanted someone to understand what does Starfleet ultimately stand for, what is this simple feeling that Kirk and Spock talk about in the motion picture, it's this episode. It's great. It's truly great. 8.9 prime ingredients.
Idle.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew if I waited long enough, you'd say it. Yeah, I'm more impressed with this episode than I'm I say let down. Let down's a terrible word, but sort of as not impressed. It does hit a lot of that Twilight Zone-esque feel that I really do like, and makes me want to go, hey, I want to go watch that Outer Limits episode, Nightmare. But as is reminded, it does have moments like the Shatner's 5 minutes of slowdown of him making various faces as he's going onto his back once again, and of course you've got your shirt off again. There are moments of, and I think this is a stylistic choice that I disagree with, and I don't like the overhammy of portraying empathy when there are, I don't say subtle ways of doing it, different ways of doing it, and the pacing of it is not great. But to be honest, it is a great breakdown and reassembly of like the Star Trek construct of like being able to show like, right, why are we judging this race? Why are you here in this test? You're testing to see if this race can be empathetic. You're seeing a higher Kardashev scale civilization judging lower ones to be saved. They are being uplifted depending on their role they can have in a galactic civilization. I'm a kind of sucker for stuff like that. And I appreciated his 1968, so, you know, your presentation's only going to go so far with whatever the society is at the time. So it is good. It is a good episode, and I'm very surprised that it is a season 3 episode, because I would have pegged this for earlier, you know, maybe season 2, because it is, and it shows through. It's a fan watching season 1 of Star Trek and 2 and going, this is what Star Trek means, this is why sci-fi is different, and this is what I'm going to write to show that. And I think it's very admirable to have these fans coming in and writing these scripts. Despite Shatner's hamminess, he is actually a defining force in this episode, and we do get the trilogy proving why they are the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman of this era. You can assign who is who.
Which one is Wonder Woman? I gotta know who's Wonder Woman.
Oh, it's absolutely Kirk.
Clearly Bones.
Oh,
clearly Bones.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, regardless, it's why they're the defining three. Why many models of Star Trek have tried to ape this trio for all time. To cut a long story short, I'm going to give this a 7.5 prime ingredients out of 10. I'm scoring a lot higher than I thought I would. I think there's a lot here. I feel like there are... Basically, the Twilight Zone does it better, is my whole thing. But for Star Trek, it's a great antithesis. It's a must-watch for any Star Trek fan, for sure, because it does what you don't expect it to do in a way that I think maybe Modern Trek misses. As much as I do like Modern Trek, I feel like it could do with some episodes like this. Dan.
All right. So the question we're all dancing around, right, is this gem of an episode? Is this a rhinestone or is it a diamond in the rough? So,
how long have you been sitting on that? Has it been for like the first 5 minutes?
I like the fact that this is a season 3 episode. We've had, 2 years to really learn to love this crew. So I think that the dynamic between the triad is earned. And, these men have been in the trenches with each other, and, we understand their willingness to sacrifice, not out of duty, but out of love for each other. And in retrospect, even much more sweet after having spent decades with the original series crew through the movies. And friends lost and no longer with us. Seeing them be at their peak and really showing that compassion for each other is really wonderful. I said before, I'm really glad this episode exists. I don't think it was particularly entertaining at the time for television audiences looking to tune in and see some phasers and some we come in peace, shoot to kill. But I'm so glad to have shared this with you guys, and it really gives us a lot to talk about. This episode is one that deserves to be discussed, and it's art. In that way, it is art. That it stands on its own. They present what they had to say unapologetically and in their own way. The creative team, not only the original author of the script, but the people that adapt it for television, understood that vision. Whether they wanted to present a religious parable or just some good science fiction told in an interesting way. The fact that they were able to do it is really interesting. And I think this episode stands alone not only as a great Star Trek episode, but just an episode of sci-fi that really is just fascinating and a fun watch. I don't know if I could watch it 50 times.
I feel like you could put this in episodes that sort of like, right, what are episodes that subvert the expectations of what people think Star Trek is? And I feel like there are a few other episodes you could put in this category, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Well, I feel that this episode of Star Trek and of sci-fi is a pearl of great price indeed. And so my rating will raise to 9.1 prime ingredients out of 10.
Auto, take us home.
You guys have overperformed my expectations for your ratings.
Oh, we have? One. Trash.
Irreparable harm to the Star Trek franchise.
Yes.
Needs more talking. Okay.
No, to channel Lol, everything that is truest and best in all species of beings has been recorded in this episode. These are the qualities that make Star Trek worthy to survive. Yeah, man, what a journey for me personally, because I don't, some of you guys, Stars, First Contact, you, Idle TMP, Best of Both Worlds, for you, Dan, these things that as a kid hit you in the heart in a certain way that will never be dislodged. I didn't really have those. I mean, I watched a lot of Star Trek, but I didn't have the one that I really connected to until Twilight Zone's The Long Morrow, and that was really the first time. And now this is number 2, and it's like, oh, man, I'm such a bleeding heart when it comes to this kind of thing, and it just hits me in just the right way. Compassion and camaraderie and brotherhood and sacrifice and tenderness and poignancy and pathos. It's like all the things that I can't do without in Star Trek is in this episode. So I get, it's gone everywhere from 7 or 8 to 14 or 15. This for me is 10 prime ingredients out of 10. This is just, I don't want to break the scale, but if I were to, it would be this episode. So yeah, I love this thing.
Fantastic. So with an 8.9 prime ingredients on the Ritter rating out of 10, this is scored equal to Enterprise's Stigma, which was also an 8.9. Not quite as good as Who Watches the Watchers by 0.1%.
Is it the horny Mormon episode with Phlox's wife? Or am I thinking of a different one?
No.
It's the one about
oh no, it's the T'Pol one.
About T'Pol's like the HIV kind of app about
okay,
parable.
never mind. I thought that's the one where Feasel hits on Trip or whatever.
That's a 10 out of 10. What are you talking about? No, it's 8.8 was Phage and Drone at 8.6. So we higher echelons of good Trek. Higher than I thought we were going to rate it. That's for absolutely sure. Yeah, great. Do you know what I kind of love about your picks, Auto, is you pick the ones that get us talking. It's no, because we've had like Best of Both Worlds, we've had like First Contact, we've had the actiony ones, we've had the fan favourites, we've had Corbomp Maneuver and all those we sort of talk about Trek. This kind of got us talking about like what do we expect from Trek and what do we expect to be watching and how this kind of subverts it. So no, thank you for bringing that to us as well.
And I want to say, because these sort of themes, I know they're present in New Trek, but sometimes I miss that because I'm focused on, maybe I don't like the acting or the CGIs. And so, to help prevent me from being a hypocrite, if you see these kind of themes in New Trek and you want to share them either through the draft or whatever,
I think me and Stars because as we spoke we did our Starfleet Academy season 1 review.
Right?
Yeah, there's a couple of episodes in there that are just I think for both of you and me, Stars, are just like absolute. Like 10 out of 10, like this.
The Sam and Doctor episode, I think, kind of hits a similar emotional point for me.
Have that on
in
there.
Terms of,
But otherwise, thank you, gentlemen. It's been an absolutely stellar review once again. We'll be back soon. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel and on our Discord if you haven't already joined for pat on the back there for our next upcoming episode. I may have started seeding some interest in Star Trek SmackDown, so you haven't already, have a look on our announcement channel or our Blue Sky channel. There is a link there where you can submit your 8 wrestlers that you want to, or the Star Trek characters that might be wrestling against each other in an upcoming episode of Star Trek SmackDown. And you can win points. Points are prizes.
Do you have the Vians from this episode?
I don't yet.
As a tag team. There's a tag team.
Someone on the Something Awful thread said, this should canonically be set in the Bread and Circuses arena. I'm like, it is now! Anyway, Thank you all for watching. We will be back soon. Live long and prosper. And ta-ra!
So, this is what we've decided. Lisa gets you Tuesdays and Fridays. I get you Mondays and Thursdays.
We alternate Wednesdays and weekends.
Hold on, I don't think I'm old enough to hear this kind of thing. Ladies, good day. Romano, good luck. You can return my car in the morning. If you can still drive, I'm taking the bus.